Hello. My name is Yoshineda, and welcome back to another video of Warzone Resurgence quads in Black Ops 6. This time I'm going into the map Area 99. After playing some Squid Games, we wanted to mix it up a little bit and go back to our kind of old format of just aiming to kill people, because with the Squid Games format, as fun as it is to mix it up and chase these objectives while also killing people, you can also get a little bit maybe too focused on the objectives and kind of miss the enjoyment of simple, straight up, go find someone, hunt them down, and do the old format as it was. And so that's what we've done here. And today's episode, I kind of want to show what it's like to suck at Call of Duty. Because as much as I might, put up a gameplay footage of winning a Warzone or Resurgence game mode, there's countless times, numerous times of footage recorded or just hours rather played that goes unseen where things don't go my way. Things just don't go in general for anybody's way, and you just have those nights, maybe every night, where just whatever reason it takes a long time and the grind is real. So I think to dispel any myths of thinking that I am the greatest Call of Duty player, look at all these amazing footages, even though they're not really footages, but say wins in general. For every one win, there's probably like 10 losses that go up to that. And that's just the way it is in Call of Duty. I'm definitely not the best player. I probably maybe once was in my heyday, although it's hard to say if I ever really was, because I'm also gauging my time on Call of Duty 2 if anyone was playing that. And that was my first game entry level, and I used to love playing Call of Duty 2. I thought it was the greatest game ever, probably still to this day. And it's hard to know how accurate that statement was, because I think I joined it a little bit late. I think Modern Warfare had just come out and I was still playing COD 2 for whatever reason and still enjoying life, or maybe the servers weren't as active. So I digress. I just wanted to say that, yeah, things, are never as easy as they seem, no matter what. And if you do have a Warzone win, part of the enjoyment of feeling how that win is worthy, and you kind of essentially earn it because you know how difficult it was to get it because of the 10 losses you probably would have gone through in the past. And it's interesting because depends on, I've tried to figure out, is there a formula to the win? Is there something that I could do to learn from it? And there are little tips and tricks maybe that I've come across, depending particularly on the map that you play. But sometimes in general, it feels like it's just almost like luck or a random combination of things or aspects that are out of my control, such as the teams that I'm facing, the matchmaking, and the teams that I've been given. And sometimes it feels like the card that I'm dealt with is just that's how it is. And, I don't know if there's things that I've improved upon as a player versus maybe I've just been given a good lobby where the skill levels is pretty even. Sometimes maybe I've just been given a bunch of rookies and noobs that make things so much easier, that then make me feel much better player than I really am. But if you do play Area 99, I can tell you, there are some quote-unquote little tips or tricks that we kind of generally go towards in areas that we find that are less populated, and sometimes it does vary depending on the mode, and you have to kind of, mix it up. When you come into the map for the first time, for the first few minutes, you feel it out, and you can kind of sense where people have spawned, and it sometimes does change. For instance, we've kind of started here at this bunker, and that's a nice area for us that we've kind of been through a few times, and we've held that down for for the early stages and getting comfortable, getting everything sorted out. And we can kind of, you know, have a good feel layout of the land. Now, there's been a couple times where that, for whatever reason, maybe the way that the plane has come in and maybe where players want to choose to drop, it becomes like a death spot and it's a hot zone. Everyone wants that bunk, everyone wants to look after it. So then you have to obviously adjust. An area that's interesting, like on this map, we call it Star Wars Land, is where the colored huts are. And if you play that, you know, area, you try to drop on there, for whatever reason, 9 times out of 10, there are always dudes there, and it's just difficult. It is the layout, the 3-dimensional landscape, there's different bunkers. I don't care, it's almost been so rare that there's been not many people that have dropped there. That area in particular is just a hot spot that I generally don't like to go to. If I can try to avoid it. The only times I'll go to it is if we're completely bored and we're like, alright, we need some action, let's go there, let's have some fun, because, you know, the game can be kind of, comes in waves sometimes, and you can be really slow, and then it can be super crazy all of a sudden. And we've had lobbies where we'll go for the first 4 minutes where like nothing has happened, and then boom, oh my god, we just run into a whole squad and just shit hits the fan. Another area is something like the cooler, and this kind of underground to me has generally been safe, but the top of this cooler, we call it the cooler, the reactor main central part, usually there are a couple people that would have maybe lingered on there and they would kind of like to snipe, so it's a little bit 50-50. I generally always like going underground. Something just staying underneath levels seems to be, you know, a better thing to do, and it just makes kind of logical sense by reducing your visibility and staying indoors as much as possible, which is another kind of general tip and trick that I have to constantly try to remind myself, be less out and open, and try to go indoors as much as possible. And the only times you do go out and open is if you have absolutely no other option to do so, or if you want to take that slight risk where you believe everyone else has gone indoors, chances are it's almost like reverse psychology. No one might be looking for the outdoor fields, but, you know, we like to not do that. I, you know, feel so exposed if I'm going out in fields. Thankfully, this map has a little bit less areas like that, but, you know, it seems like just a good general trick. I also, you know, I like to go for different types of contracts depending on the mode. So here with, you know, just Resurgence, we're all about the bounties. And if there is a most wanted, we'll only tackle the most wanteds mainly at the beginning. So because everything's so fresh, not many people have guns, and everyone's really just opening up caches, the most wanted works by, you know, opening up more caches to reduce that cooldown. So you get it down in the first minute, you're just going to have such an easy access to it. You get easy cash, it's all good. Later on in the game, if you take that most wanted, it becomes more of a death trap and more of a, you know, people want to come towards you. And I'd only use it towards the middle end of the end game, only if, say, the other teammates are all dead, and maybe the chances of getting to a buy station to redeploy them are super low. Most wanted, you complete the contract, you buy out your whole team, and it's an easy win. But going for the bounty right off the bat is an easy trick because you get the cash no matter what, depending on if you want to, you know, if you actually find that person, or if it's another team. And usually, because there's so many teams at the beginning, someone's going to get that bounty. Very easy money to get into. So we just get, you know, often the first 2 minutes you can just find a couple bounties, and then someone else will pick them off for you, even if you don't get that person. Things like the spy drones, we kind of like do intermittently, depending on how we feel like it, you know, in terms of do we need the cash particularly. That's usually a lesser reason, but the only main incentive for us is if we need that UAV, because if you get the spy drones, you just get a UAV. But things like the intel or the scavenger, they're also a little bit less on the way side of what we like to do, simply because, you know, the incentives are a little bit lower. We sometimes might like, you know, the intel because we can show you the final gas circle. Scavenger, just, you know, it's just another, you know, reward for opening boxes, and there's nothing too particular apart from maybe if you're just going on the way. So things like that, you know, can help you out greatly. And trying to lock down an area to me is always nice. Staying around, you know, hovering over things like the loadout, you got to be, you know, it's a catch-22. It's a high hot zone because people want to get that loadout, but it's also a great spot to kind of pick off easy targets, put some traps on. I like to, you know, I'm rolling like spring mines, or when I unlock it, the blast trap, and putting them all over that place in terms of the booby traps. And I think you can only put 3 max before they refresh, but I just kind of like having the recycle perk. So it's always, I think it's called Quartermaster, refreshing my supply equipment and constantly using a blast trap or a spring mine, particularly in indoor situations. There's been a couple times where I feel comfortable and I've picked off easy targets that have just walked through. Even after they've killed me, they've walked through my spring mine and got hit, or the blast trap, and just got taken down. So, and I think it does last a little bit for some time after you die. It doesn't go away compared to previous Call of Duties where if you've laid down, say, a proxy and then you died, your whole equipment goes away. I think in this one, I've seen it actually stay around for at least maybe like 20, 30 seconds after you've dead. So it's not uncommon to get the squad wipe or a person down and that afterlife kill right there. Now, I like also rocking when I can get the chance to overkill in terms of setting up equipment, or rather a loadout set where your first gun is a submachine gun, second gun being that sniper, because that combination to me is ideal for the short to long distances. And even if you're not used to, say, the sniping element, I think it pays dividends to at least try to practice. And here's an example, just going back to the spring mine, where I know that there's a person there, they've just kind of killed my teammate. I've laid out basically the 2 exits for them that I can think of, and that just easily picks them apart. And then, you know, also knowing where the buy station is strategically and being placed a little bit is also super advantage. And this bit here, this is where I hate being out in the open and I get completely exposed. I'm breaking my rule of like, you know, I should have kept running here. I tried to challenge him and it was just a bad mistake. And you just get pinched sometimes and you don't want that. So that's a situation where I'm like, oh, you know, and then I'm out and that's what happens. And, you know, as much as we were alive for so long, just in an instant like that, if you're down, your friend's down, everything goes to crap. So long story short, that is how to suck at Call of Duty. And I might do another one of this because, man, it gets more frustrating. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video and I'll talk a little bit more about tips and tricks in the next one. All right. Peace.